And welcome to the Osterville Village Library. My name is Amy Wolf, and I'm the programming director here at the OVL. Thank you so much for joining us today. This afternoon, we have the distinct honor of hosting the incredibly talented artist, Sam Barber, as he introduces his new book, Reflections of My Time, a memoir which includes details of his amazing life, artistic journey, and impressionist painting style rooted in capturing the light and color of hip hop. Without further ado, Sam Barber.
Thank you so much. I'm really honored to be here at the Osterville Village Library to review my book, Reflections of My Time, the story of Sam Barber, a journey for 60 years on the Cape and all around New England. I want to thank Cindy Niehoff at the Village Libraries, Osterville Village Library, and Amy also. So wonderful. So I want to say who am I? So I came from the poorest to the poor to be with the rich and the powerful. It's really happening, and I'm Lebanese Syrian descent, and I born in a little town called Hama. I born in a castle, so we only have one window in my house. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, this is where we see the light. This is, I remember, this is very much like Cape Cod, and so I was chosen one. I was one of the lucky ones to be brought by my uncle. My uncle, he was an American citizen, and the time he brought me, I lost my mother when I was 17 to cancer, and I was very upset and sad. And my uncle, he said, "I'm going to take you to America, and this way you'll have a new life." And I was fortunate that I couldn't wait. I'm really anxious, and I started to be dreaming. I want to go to school and be a famous artist and be big time. So I arrived to Manhattan, and I started searching and going through the shadows, the tall building, the Empire State Building, and I had a dream. I said one day I'll be a great artist one day. So I find out that the Art Student League is one of the best art schools in the country. Who a lot of famous American artists study there at the Art Student League. And I was determined, so I went to the Art Student League, and I talked to a woman. Her name was Rosina Ferretti. Rosina Ferretti. She was the director of the Art Student League that time, and so she really liked me. I was 17 years old. You know, I was 20. This is like 2 years after. So Rosina, she asked me to see some of my work. So I grabbed a lot of things in my portfolio, and I showed my painting, and she gave me a scholarship the first year, and I was fortunate. And then I studied with William Draper. William F. Draper, he was a great portrait painter. He painted, there's so many. He painted the Queen Elizabeth. He painted the Shah of Iran. He painted a lot of famous people. He did a lot of portraiture, and he liked me so much. And he said, I want you to be my monitor." So I become a monitor, the Art Student League, with my class. So I served the class, and so my teacher, he liked me so much. He said, "I'm going to send you to his teacher, to my teacher, Henry Hensche in Provincetown." So I was fortunate. I went to Henry Hensche. I spent 7 years, and I got married with my wife Janie, who I met in the art school also, and we get married in Provincetown, St. Mary of the Harbor. The story never ends there. So I was determined to do sketching, portrait at the village, the village square in New York City, and I see a rabbi, he comes in the morning walk, and he stands behind me for a half hour, watching me sketching people, and he really liked my work, and he tapped me in the back, it was so hard, almost break my back a little bit, so the rabbi, he took one of his pictures from his wallet, and he said, "Could you do the portrait for me with the Polish accent?" It's a boy. He said, "Would you do this portrait for me?" Yes, that's it. And then I did the sketch for a half hour, and he liked it. Then he said, "Follow me." I didn't know where. So he took me to McDougal Street and West 4th Street, the village artist. I said, I'm going to give you a job, you can work for me. I said, my God, what a great honor. I was nobody, I was on the street doing sketches, Yes, so I worked with 5 other artists at the village artists. And I remember that time next door is Coffee Wa. It's very old, rustic bar, restaurant, and they have a little young musician playing guitar, entertain the people. It was Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan, he knew who I am, and I knew him. And if you mention my name, Sam Barber, you know who he is. Yes, he's around. And David Osmond, he lived in Osterville here in the summer. He wrote part of the books, the section of the books on Bob Dylan. And I had a copy signature on it. And so I had a great time in Greenwich Village sketching people. One of them, many people I met, the famous people. I saw Gene Kelly. You remember Gene Kelly? Gene Kelly, the actor. The police came and stopped the block of McDougal Street, and had rain come through the shower, and with the umbrella. And he was dancing and bouncing on the sidewalk. Rain in the rain. I remember this is the whole thing televised live, and I saw it. They blocked the whole street. So I met him, and also the village gate. Barbara Streisand used to sing at the village gate right in that corner, and so, and this way, where I met Janie, she came around, and she's a sweet little girl. She was beautiful. Then she was 19, and she came by the store, the village, and I saw a beautiful girl. And I asked her, I said, "Can I do your portrait?" She said, "I don't have any money." So I say, "I'm going to do it for free. I'm going to do a sample of you." So she said for the portrait, and then she looked at it and she said, "I don't like it." I say, my face turned red, and I said, "Boy, this is the end of it." And so she left. And so 10 days later, I was shocked, and then she came back. I said, "Oh my God." And my heart started beating, bing, 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 bing. And my face started red. I said, "My God, she came back." Yes. And she said, "Hi." I said, "Hi." I said, "Would you like to have a cup of coffee? We can walk the Cafe Figaro." So we went to the Bleecker Street, and we have coffee. And all of a sudden, I feel something in there happening, I feel warm, so we would start holding hands. We had tea in the afternoon, and then we walked in Washington Square. I asked her, "Where do you live?" She said, "I live in 8th Street, 5th Avenue. So she lived in a luxurious place. She lived with her uncle, So I'm going to have Janie say a few words. Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm listening to Sam's story. He's leaving a a lot, I don't know. I have to say that when he came to this country,
Yes.
his uncle who brought him here wanted him to be a house painter.
Yes.
And he was balancing on ladders and horribly high buildings in Brooklyn,
Yes.
doing that. It wasn't working out for him at all.
Yes.
So he actually left in a very friendly way and said, I've got to go and try to do something on my own. So when he was telling you about meeting the rabbi,
Yes.
he was actually homeless at that time.
Yes.
He just said, he had no money. So he was just living off the street.
Yes.
So this man found him,
Yes.
saw that he could draw very well because what he would do is he did sketches of people constantly, 10-minute sketches.
Yes.
And he would go on the subway and
Yes.
sketch everybody.
Yes.
So he was really quite amazing. So anyway, this wonderful rabbi gave him a job, told him about this little tiny, unbelievable apartment
Yes.
that he could have. I'll have to read you the description of it, it's very cute. And completely started his life.
Yeah.
So he would do portraits at this portrait place in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and then go to the Art Students League where he told you he got a scholarship, which was just a miracle,
Yes.
but he got that. And it started his life. He would make money doing portraits and go to school.
Yes.
He met a fabulous teacher, probably the best in the country, William Draper, who
Yes.
took a strong liking to him. And he was his mentor,
Yes.
and he didn't have to pay for tuition at all. He had a scholarship.
Yeah. But
And
lately,
it was just a
lately,
wonderful beginning.
I'm seeing William Draper in my dream, always odd, like he is remember me. He's remember me always, and so he liked me so much. And he said, "I'm gonna send you to my teacher, Henry Hensche." So we went to Henry Hensche, and I spent 1 year with Henry, and I really, he was very odd man, Henry Hensche. You know, he doesn't look like an artist. He looks like somebody work in the drugstore or work at the hardware store. Yes, he was an average man, but he was the greatest artist of all time. It's the only favorite he liked is he liked Claude Monet. You know, Monet, because he liked color, playing with colors. Yes. So when I went to Hensche's, I learned to use all the cadmium colors. You know, I use the bouncing light, you know, reflection with the color. So the complementary color, all the complementary color, you know, if I do red, I have to have a green next to it. If I do blue, I have to do orange next to it. And if I do purple, I have to do yellow next to it. So the light will bounce a little bit. And I learned something when I came to the Henry Hensche, not to use black paint. The black paint has oxide color that eat the other colors. Because it make all the other color grayishy tone. If you do it with the red will turn a brown. And if you do it with the yellow, will turn more like ochre. So just like that famous painting, if you remember, at the Boston Museum, by John Singer Sargent, the lady with the pink dress. You remember that painting?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a gorgeous painting. That painting, I've been seeing it for 50 years. Every year I go and see it. Every other years I go to the museum. The colors get duller and duller and duller. 50 years ago, when I saw it, it was a red in her face, a little bit pink light. And now if you look at that painting in Boston Museum, it looks dead. Her face, it looks like a lady in the morgue, you know, it's with no color in her face. So I learned about color, and life goes on with me. And so I study so hard with William Draper year after year. And so 25 years later, after I left New York City to Provincetown, and we get married in Provincetown. So I had to exhibit painting at the Sal McGindy Club. There's an art place where he exhibits from all over the country, artists exhibit, so the girl who answered the phone, at the Sal McGinty Club, her name Annette, she said, Annette, she said, Sam, she said, you remember me? I was one of the girls working at the village artist with you 25 years ago. Then I asked her, I said, what happened to that rabbi? The rabbi, his name Isaac Duckenberg, the Polish rabbi. She said he died about 20 years ago, 20 years, and they took his body to Jerusalem, and about 500 rabbis went to his funeral. He was holy of holies. So I got my blessing from him. So I am really fortunate. So since I become in America here, I came, as I say, from the poorest of the poor, to be with the rich and the powerful. So I wound up living in Hyannisport at the Kennedys. Where the Kennedys is. How did I get that place? Well, I have a husband and wife, Bob Shack and Lynn Shack. They were clients of mine and they loved my painting. They used to come from New York City. They were young lawyers. They're in their 20s, mid-20s. They used to work for Robert F. Kennedy's in Washington, D.C. and come to the Cape on weekend. They used to come to my studio on Stevens Street when I built studios. And she said, I have the right place for you. I can see you paint in the tower, the lighthouse in Hyannisport. So she said, let's go and see it. So we drove to see it. I said, my God, how could I afford this enormous, huge place? She said, no, you can make it happen. I'm talking about 50 years ago. So I call up my lawyer. I have a really friend lawyer I met at Dunphy's Hotel, Richard Anderson. You probably know who he is, Richard Anderson. He was a really good friend of mine. So I went to him and I knocked on his door and his office over the Puritan's clothing on the second floor. So I went upstairs, I knocked on his door. I say, Richard, hi, I'm Sam Barber. He said, I know who you are. I said, why you came to me? I say, I want the best lawyer to represent me. He said, I'm expensive. I say, I don't care. I'm going to give you anything you ask for, So he went and helped me to buy the house. He said, you can get a mortgage with $30,000. You can borrow from the bank. We did borrow $30,000 from the bank with mortgage $1,000 every month. $1,000. So I could afford $1,000 because from sketching, all month long. Yes, and my wife at that time she was helping me working. She worked on Filene at that time, and so we did, and we bought the house, and I was really fortunate. So my luck, this has come true. So I had the best house, the best teacher, the best other teacher, Henry Hensche, the best wife. She really is smart and she's a good artist. Yes, and also I love Cape Cod. Cape Cod is a wonderful place. And since I've been on the Cape, 60 years, I have painted 5,000 paintings of Cape Cod. I made Cape Cod famous, So this is, I have so many sweatshirts with Cape Cod on it. I love hoodies. Yeah. So this is what it is. And so now you can ask me a question if you like. Yes. Yes.
I think Amy wants you to talk more. This is a very unusual book because this is short stories
Yes.
of Sam's, and most of them he gets into trouble in every single one. He just steps in everything we don't know, but everything that we've done has just been a miracle, really, because we were absolutely poor.
Yes.
And everything just worked its way up
Yes.
into a great life.
Yes.
We've never really struggled at all.
Yes.
Since the very beginning. But, so it's short stories, little cute stories that he remembers and I remember because I've been with him all that time. And then paintings that match the story. It's sort of an unusual thing. But the book goes from New York City to the Art Students League to the National Academy. He also studied sculpture at the National Academy and won an award for the
Yes,
most creative compositions in clay.
I love sculpture.
Then he was sent to Henry Hensche in Provincetown where we lived, where we loved it.
Yes.
And we became connected to Henry. It's very cute stories about Henry Hensche.
Yes.
And we were almost relatives because we had a little dog, Tess. When Sam worked in Provincetown, he had to study with Henry, but he also had to make a living, so he worked doing portraits at this place called Draw Me a Circle.
Yes.
And one of the artists brought a little box of puppies in. And Sam said, can we get a dog? I said, well, I'm not, we were just married. I said, I don't know if we're really ready to get a dog quite yet, but I love dogs. But
So,
anyway, all the dogs were pretty much spoken for. Sam said, I know Ada, Henry's wife, would love one of these puppies because she never had children and she's always wanted a pet.
yes.
So Sam took the dog over to Ada Hensche,
Yes.
and his wife,
Yes.
and she loved it. She called him Wags.
Yes.
When Henry came back from whatever he was doing, he saw this dog and he said, oh my gosh, I hate pets and I hate children. And how could you do this to me? So he turned on Sam. He said, how could you possibly do such a horrible thing? Anyway, that same day, I took the last little female puppy. So we had matching dogs from the same litter. So it was really great. Henry, the next day, came with a dog on a leash. He was in love with his dog.
Yeah.
After all these years of being as mean and nasty as he could be.
Yeah. So
about
we named the
pets.
dog Tess after the movie Tess of D'Urberville. You remember the movies? Yes. And Wax, they named him Wax, the male dog, because wagging his tail. And Wax and Tess, their brother and sister, and Henry loved his dog, started loving him. And every time he walked from Conwell Street, half a mile, all the way to Commercial to the post office to pick up his mail, every morning he stopped at our house. And then the two dogs, they had tea with milk, you know, and they're running around the house. So I have to tell you how we get that house, that beautiful house. After we get married, so Jenny and I, we walked all Provincetown sketching and taking pictures and everything. And we went to that alley, the Webster Place, and 5 Webster Place. And Janie says, oh, I'd love to own that house. I say, honey, maybe one day I'll buy it for you. I didn't know that house belonged to Pauline Palmer. Pauline Palmer is just like Mary Cassatt, a woman portrait artist. She was a great artist. You know, she's from Chicago, Illinois. And after her death, she left $6 million back in the late 30s to the Art Institute of Chicago for scholarship, you know, for the students. And so how we get to that house? So Henry, after coming to our house all the time, so he says, we're gonna go and see a house for you to sell. So we went to that house, turned to be the same house that Janie liked. It's the 5 Webster Place. So you walk inside the little house, little kitchen outside, but then it was a huge studio, like enormous, you know, with a couple of 2-story high, and you can see the skylight, the monument of Provincetown through the skylight. So this is really her famous place, the Pauline Palmer. So I talked to the woman, and that woman, she was a character. Her niece, she has that British accent, you know, like a black and white movie. You remember those people, they smoke. and she said, "What's your name?" Sam Barber. And she said, my great aunt will love you, the character, and so I will sell you the house, but don't tell anybody. So we did buy the house, and we waited for another summer to come back and spend the summer from Illinois. And she was the teacher at Evanston, Illinois. She teach Latin. And so the woman came back and we passed paper and we bought the house for $16,000. That time, it was a lot of money, but it really 16,000, oh God. We got a mortgage too.
Well, that was 1970,
Yeah.
right, that was 1970.
Yeah, 1970. So we bought the house and we moved in there. The story after story, it's one of the story in the book is that house is full of furniture, antique furniture, and a lot of wicker furniture, and those the waving wicker, and those the original one, So one day, and Janie was working, she wasn't in the house. I said, you know what? I have too many furniture. So I kept most of the furniture, sofa and chairs and lovebird and love chairs, and packed them up. I took them to the Provincetown dump. And Janie, she came back and she said, what happened to the furniture? They said, I like to have room here. I took him to the dump. He said, oh my God, it's antique furniture. So I ran to the dump closed at 4 o'clock, and the furniture's gone. I couldn't see it. It's by the airport in Provincetown. Yeah. So this is my first mistake I did, and it's in the book. So a lot of odd
There
stories.
weren't many mistakes before that.
Yeah.
Many.
Yeah.
But tell them about the story about there's a very unusual story. After we moved into the house, Henry came over and he said, this is unacceptable, this walkway has bumpy bricks. They were sort of at an angle like that to line the walkway. So he said, you must work on this walkway right away and take off all those tops of the bricks. So Sam did that.
Yes.
And we were clearing up around the front door and there was a piece of marble there. We turned it over and it said, Mary J. died at the age of 1 year and something months.
1870.
October 24th,
October 20. This is Janie's birthday.
1870. That was my birthday when we found that.
Isn't it weird?
It was just unbelievably
She likes the
amazing.
house. They took the life out of that child.
And my name's Janie, so this is Mary J. So that was a coincidental thing, obviously, that happened.
Yes.
But
So what happened to the house now? They took.
well, that house now, well, this was in 1970, so this is quite long.
Yes.
The odd thing is somebody came to our house just probably a month and a half ago, a plumber.
Yes.
Who liked Sam's paintings, and but he had never met Sam.
Yes.
And he had bought a painting of Pauline Palmer doing a portrait of herself, a self-portrait, out in front of her house. It's a really great painting.
Yes.
And we said, oh my gosh, well, we owned that house in Provincetown. Now, I mean, there's a lot of houses in Provincetown.
Yeah.
So what a coincidental thing. So
Now they turn the house to an inn in
yeah.
Provincetown. Yeah, they call it the Pauline Palmer Inn.
Yeah, this is so I said, I said, Warren, this is so unusual.
Yeah.
Just today, my sister told me that she read that our house was now the Pauline Palmer house.
Yes.
So
You can stay for $700 a night.
I could stay there. The house was a little teeny weeny house, but to us it was like a palace. It was just amazing. And as much as we loved everything there,
Yeah.
we decided that after a few years we would probably have to sell
Yeah.
and move out of Provincetown, because otherwise you'd be there doing very little for the rest of your life. It was just a comfy life, too comfy.
Yes.
So we wanted to go back to school and go back to New York. We didn't really want to go, but we forced ourselves to go.
Yes.
So
Yes. So the story after story. So after So I'll tell you another story in the book, is the blue nude, they call it, the blue nude. So I had to have a model in Provincetown, so I'm not shy when I see a beautiful girl. I'll come to her and I say, I'd love to paint you, I'm an artist. And they agreed, and she came over and she posed, as nude by the front door in the house. And the painting is so beautiful with the light coming through the south light from the screen door, the glass door. Yes, it's coming to our body in there. And I see the reflection that's in the book. Yeah, and so I was excited. It was like Monday. She's supposed to come a couple of days later, Wednesday. Wednesday it came, she never came back. I was really upset. Thursday it came, she never came back. I was really upset. So I lost my temper and I turned the painting upside down. And I scraped it, and I want to do another painting over it. And so when Janie, she came and she said, what happened to the painting? I said, well, the model didn't show up, so I'm gonna do another painting on it. She said, you're crazy, this is your best painting, so clean it up. So I clean it with turpentine again and fix it the way it is. I left it the way it is. So the painting become a famous painting, and the man who's in charge, the American Express, back in Atlanta, Georgia, the head office, he purchased the painting. Yeah, he came to our house and bought that painting. And so I was fortunate. So this is another story in the book. Yes, yes,
It wasn't, it was colorful before, but when he completely took all the paint off,
yes,
it stayed blue.
yes,
So this is
yes,
the painting again.
yes.
But in those days, they had,
We do.
when he was at the Art Students League and with all the sculpture and everything,
Yes,
you always painted nudes and everything at that time at the Art Students League. And
Yes.
so this was like shortly after people painted
Yeah.
nudes and
so,
artists.
yes,
So it
so
was something they did.
I have to tell you, I have so many favorite story in the book. I have to tell you a story about the homeless. The homeless. I was homeless in Boston, but one day, yeah.
Not really, but people thought he was.
Yes, so I have to tell you the story. And the story is I do glass jewelry, I do cut glass jewelry. This is my other hobby, so I have it in the studio. I do the Blessed Mother, with the crown on her head. And you can see this is cut jewelry. Yeah, see, this is Venetian glass, so I cut the glass and I trim it the size of the Blessed Mother face, and so I did so many. I took to Boston a bag of 100 glass jewelry in a little bag. I went on the bus, and the bus driver, when we arrived to Boston South Station, I see people giving the bus driver a tip. I didn't know people tip bus driver. So some people give $10, $5. I can see it. So I grabbed one Mary from my bag and I gave it to the bus driver. And I say, you can have it. I say, oh my God, this is just what I need. It's just, it's cancer survivor, so I needed this. This would give me blessing. Yeah, he loved it. So he wearing it. So I left him alone and I walked from South Station to North Church, up north. By 10:30, I saw a line of people, on the sidewalk, North Church. And so I have to stay on the end because my line comes right to the end. And half hours waiting and the people moving slowly to the door. So when I walked in, I asked the lady, I said, do you have a gift shop? I said, no. She said, honey, we don't have a gift shop. I said, what are these people doing here? She said, we're giving breakfast for the poor. I said, oh my God, She said, would like to have breakfast. I said, no, thank you. So I walk across, she said, you can go to San Joseph down the street by Pauline, George and Marsh, you know, where you can, maybe there's a church, St. Joseph. So I went down and the place was locked in there. But before I did, I smelled Burger King. I love the Burger King. I love the Burger King, the onion ring. So I went in there and I stand also online, you know, there are about 5, 6 people in there. So, but by the time my turn came, I said, I like to have medium onion ring. So the man, he looked at the way I dress. I wear my apron and I always wear apron. So I guess I look like a homeless. So he gave me the onion ring. He said, no charge. So, oh my God. So I grabbed $2 from my pocket and I gave it to him. I said, tip. He said, well, thank you very much. So I ate my onion ring, crunchy. I love it. And so I went down by St. Joseph and the church was closed. So I had to take a taxi and I went to Boston Museum of Fine Art and I showed them the bag at the gift shop and they loved it. They said, we like it, we like it. You have to talk to that one woman. So it's hard to get to that woman, but then soon we will get to her and then we will sell it at the Boston Museum. I also went to the Gardner Museum. I showed the Gardner Museum
Let me show
at the
you this
gift shop.
picture.
Yes.
He went to the Gardner Museum and with all of the gorgeous surroundings in the Gardner Museum,
Yes.
with all the hanging plants and
Yes,
everything else.
when I was at the Gardner Museum, I took a picture of this.
He went
This
to
is
the,
the
a
window.
window where they were growing some
Yes.
orchids.
There you go, life flowers. Yes, yes, yes. So,
But,
Sure.
can I just say something for one
Yes.
minute? He was unbelievably naive, and this is what happens to him a lot. He was waiting in that big, long, long line
Yes.
at the church.
Yes.
And then when he got there, they said, what would you like for breakfast? And so that was a little naive. And then he went and had the onion rings. And now this is being verified by a friend of his that goes to Boston with him.
Yes.
That every time they go somewhere, people come and they offer him pizza and stuff. It didn't occur to him that maybe it was the way he was dressed,
Yes.
but it was giving off the wrong impression.
I did.
So that was kind of unusual.
Yes, this is, it is. So, this is another story. So I'm gonna tell you a story now. The Monet's garden. This is one of my favorite places. When we went to the Monet's garden so many times and
Sam,
we did maybe 6 times.
Sam,
I went to Boston to Monet's garden, and the Monet's garden is packed with buses and tourists and everything. You know, yeah, I have to go early to get my way, and so it was it was Sunday morning. It was packed with people, and so I ran. You know, by the time I purchased a ticket and I went in, you know, it's already full with people. And I ran all over the place, taking pictures without people in there, you know, with the roses and the irises and the water lily, all this at the same time. The best place to go visit Monet's garden, either in the fall, around September or October, or in D-Day, Normandy's, you know, it's June 6th. It was all roses and irises, the flower, all in full blooms. Yeah. So the gardener, he showed me moving around so much, and he said, "You an artist?" I say, "Yes. My teacher is William Draper, and he did a portrait of Walter Annenberg. Was ambassador to England at that time, Ambassador Annenberg, and so Ambassador Annenberg." He gave $6 million to renovate the Monet's garden. So they did. So the gardener, he said, would you like to come tomorrow, Monday? Monday we close, you know, the museum. But he said, we open the garden to the diplomat. all the diplomat from Europe. So we came Monday and I passed my card and at the prime minister and minister and ambassador and a lot of people in diplomat community. And also I painted, I saw a picture of a geisha girl. It was a princess, Japanese princess. I took her pictures right on the bridge of Monet. So I have all these on a slide that time. So I have so many. And the gardener, he was so nice. And he invited us to his house. Right next door, he lived next to the museum. So we went, we had tea. That time, we have our first child, Freddie. And Freddie, he's 34 years old now. He's 34 and he's married and he sells Kia car on 28. So the Freddie was 10 months old and he was with the carriage and with a diaper. So so we went to the gardener and he gave us tea in the afternoon, cookie and everything. We had a great time. And he told me that Claude Monet, he buried down the street on top of the hill, just further down the street. So I went and I did a little prayer, the Monet's graveyard, I visited. It's really the light and at the Giovanni is just like Cape Cod light. It was sunny, hazy in the morning. It's a lovely day. It's a cliff. He is buried on a cliff in a little mountain. It's lovely. So we get through the Monet's garden and a lot of people. I painted a lot of water lily in garden, and I was big time, selling at Wally Finley galleries, Wally Finley's in New York City, Palm Beach, Chicago, Paris, and I was doing well, real well, that I could afford. I bought a house in the Four Seasons, a hotel in Boston. So we have the place on the 12th floors, and we never use it. We have refrigerator, two refrigerator, like the two bedroom, and I have a place where I can paint, and Janie should go shopping around that time. So we had a great time. So we own that house maybe 2 years. And then we have to sell it. We can't be everywhere in Hyannisford and Boston, here and there. Yes. So this is my success. So I have so many stories. I have a story in every page. And I have also a troubled story too. I have to tell you about a troubled story. I don't know which one, but
he just gave an interview
yes.
to a radio station down in Provincetown, and the person doing the interview said, "I have never seen anybody that's gotten into so much trouble in their life, honestly." And it's just unbelievable. I mean, which one of the stories are you gonna say?
I was gonna say the story of coming from Canada.
Here.
As coming from Canada, we visit my in-laws' parents in Canada, and I left Janie in Canada, and I came. So in the winter time, every time I blow my nose, I put the dirty napkin in my pocket. I don't want to dirty the street. So I have my pack in my coat full of dirty napkins. 6 on this side, 6 on this side, and my pocket full of stuff. And I had a dark coat, and I bought a love antique. I bought a cane, like Charlie Chaplin cane, a little cane. And I was walking, it's like this, and I had dark glasses. I really looks like a drug dealer. So when we get to Boston, I got all the best service in there, and so people gave me tea, gave me peanuts and everything, and so by the time we get to Boston, the two big guys, with the crew cut, they did this. They show me the ID. He said, FBI, you under suspicious of drug trafficking. Could you follow us, please? And then my face turned red and blue, like I'm really guilty. But I don't even smoke. I don't drink. I don't do anything. Yeah. So I went to his office. They took me somewhere in Boston, and he says, empty all your pockets. So I took half a dozen dirty napkins on one side, half a dirty napkin on this side. And I carry all this. I buy candies, I buy stuff. I have a lot of stuff in my pocket. I always and I carry. This is so. And then I told him. I said, I'm sorry. I do not smoke, and I live in Hyannisford, and I'm a friend Ted Kennedy's. They went back to their office and they talked it over, and then they came back. He said, "Thank you, you can leave. We're sorry." So I put my clothes on with my pants. I left with my dirty napkin and this. Yeah.
Kyle, yeah.
This is one of my trouble story. I have another trouble story.
That way, yeah.
Yes, I have another trouble
Can I
story.
read a little section from
Yes.
one of
which
your,
one?
let's see if we can do,
Yes,
if I can find, you can talk till I find this.
yes.
It's just, but he did a lot of traveling for shows for Wally Finley Gallery, a lot of trips to Europe, probably 6 different ones
Yes,
at least. One of the trips, I had 2 little tiny boys
yes,
a year apart, so I couldn't go. But wherever he went with, he took a trip with my brother.
Yes.
And went to, you speak for once, I'm gonna try to find this page with different trouble that you got into just on this one trip.
yes.
It is hard to believe.
Yes.
Let's see if I can find it.
Well, anyway, so, but I have a lot of story, not even in the book, too. So one of the story, I'll tell you, this is weird. I was invited to Washington DC for inauguration of the money man, that time, the finance money during Ronald Reagan time. Yes, so I went to Washington DC to the State House. I was invited and they gave me ticket. So right from the beginning, when I went to the door, my key buzzed. I have so many keys in there, and then I had to take all my keys and stuff, and then I have to get people start coming in. So I went on the second floor and I went to the bathroom. So I went to the wrong bathroom. I went to the ladies' room. Who I saw there is what's her name?
Susan Cream, she lives right here in
What's her name?
Osterville. Right, Susan.
Susan Preem. She screamed. She said, "What's up? This is a woman in the bathroom. What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I left outside. So this is another hot story. So I did a show one day and said they asked me to stay for dinner with them. They can go with the ambassador, to from the place, the State House. And no, so I took the train back to Providence and took my car. By the time I get home, it was like late at night. So this is another story. It's not in the
I'm
book.
just gonna read, it's one trip that I wasn't on with
Yes.
Sam. Okay, Sam first met Jeff, Janie's younger brother, when he was 3.5 years old. Sam and Jeff had many travels together throughout their lives.
Yes.
They toured Italy, France, and Holland for 3 weeks in 1992 on a Eurail pass,
Yes.
choosing an economical plan that would have them sleeping at night and touring by day.
Yes.
Jeff remembers the time when they found themselves almost
Yes.
in Athens rather than their destination, Amsterdam. Half the train would be going in one direction when it was time to split, while the other half would be going in the opposite direction.
Yes.
Thank goodness people told them that they had to get on the right car immediately.
Yes.
They grabbed all their possessions and ran. Luckily, they got to Amsterdam when the car separated. On another trip, Amsterdam to Venice, they were desperate for a cup of coffee. The coffee car was at the tail end of the train. They walked through all the cars and ordered their coffee. They tried to pay but were denied because they offered the wrong currency. We're not in Belgium now, we're in Germany. They returned the length of the train to exchange their currency, but by the time they got back to the coffee car, they were in another country and again did not have the right currency. They never did have their cups of coffee. Once in Paris and standing near the Eiffel Tower, an American boy walked up to Jeff and Sam and asking in French, "Où se trouvent les toilettes?" Where is the bathroom? Sam answered in made up but convincing French. And he did that all the time, unfortunately. Hopefully the boy found the bathroom. Sam and Jeff were in a Greek restaurant in Paris. Sam saw a waiter throwing plates on the floor. Sam thought that it was the thing to do, so he picked up his plate and threw it. The waiter's plate was empty, but Sam still had a lot of food on it. This time Sam pretended not to know. At the Klimt Museum in Vienna, the fee was $25, which was very expensive. It was a very important exhibition. Jeff was not interested in Klimt's masterpieces, so he was willing to forgo the tour. Sam was intent on gaining admission for free. Then Sam had a brainstorm. A large group of German tourists were making their way up to pay for their tickets. He slowly blended into the group as they moved up the line. Sam thoroughly enjoyed his memorable tour of the Klimt Museum. In Italy, this is just one trip, can you believe this? In Italy, they saved money when they realized no one checked for train tickets. In Venice, they took a water taxi. Sam had a tripod with him. He wanted a place all to himself on the boat, so he positioned the tripod in a way that no one could open the door to the back of the boat. There he sat for the duration of the trip, oblivious to the glaring passengers. Jeff worried that there would be an altercation at the end, but fortunately there wasn't. But anyway, that was on one little
This is,
expedition.
you can see my life really full of stories, and I told most of it, and I still lots of it.
You haven't.
Yeah, one day we were driving, I always loved snow. Every time I drive by Fall River, I see the church, the Fall River, you know, a reflection, the two tower in the water with the snow. And I say, my God, that looks like a Monet. So I asked Janie one day, I say, "Hey, you can drop me off in the winter. It's a cold winter, like today, even worse, you know, with snow on the ground." So she left me on the side 195 to do the painting. And I have liked painting, you know, plein air. And Janie, she went to Providence to the mall shopping for Christmas. Yeah, and then she was away like for an hour and a half, 2 hours, but then I was froze. But then I did a beautiful painting that what's his name? The Cape Cod Symphony Orchestra, former director, he purchased the painting, you know, that you remember his name?
Is it Ogden Nash?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not
Mr.
in-
Nash.
So he's not even in this
He
book.
was, well, the Cape Cod Symphony Orchestra director. He passed away, but the painting owned by his wife, and his wife, I'm sure she's in nursing home right now, but her children own the painting. So this is another story is not told. Yes. So I'll be glad to sign the books if anybody interested to purchase the books. I'll be sitting